In the following video, Marcus Belton was driving home through Ravens Hollow, Maine, exhausted after a long shift and just wanting to crawl into bed. But as he entered his street, his headlights lit up his driveway and he saw something that took him off guard.
Okay, so I just got home from work and there should be nobody at my house right now. I mean, it should be completely empty. But I just pulled up and what is that? Is that a person? What the fuck is that? There should be nobody in the house. Nobody at all. Okay, well, guess let's check it out. Okay.
Someone in a dark hoodie was standing really still and silent by his door, almost like they had been waiting for him the whole time. This was strange because Marcus lived alone, wasn't expecting anyone, and nobody had a spare key, so whoever that was, they definitely weren't supposed to be there. He stepped out of the car and hurried toward the house, but by the time he reached the door, the figure had vanished. Just like that, no sound, no running, no one walking away, like the person disappeared into thin air. Marcus looked around, checked for prints or any sign someone had actually been there, but he didn't find a single trace. He tried to make sense of it, but the only explanation that stuck was the one he didn't want to believe. A paranormal entity had been there. This video was recorded at a primary school in Ohio where students and teachers often joke about a ghost said to haunt room 3B. You'll hear things like, "Say hi when you walk past room 3B, he likes it." Everyone knew who he was supposed to be, the ghost of a little boy who died long ago and, according to legend, never really left. Most people laughed it off as a harmless story, but that all changed one night when a janitor heard light giggling echoing through the empty hallway. That moment stirred curiosity among some of the teachers, and one Friday evening, they decided to stay late and check the school's security footage from the hallway outside room 3B. They watched in silence, expecting nothing, but then something happened.
Я к нему как-то уже лояльно.
Ну так спокойно.
И что на одном месте?
Мы все здороваемся с ним теперь.
Да, я ему говорю, привет.
Видишь ребенок?
Видишь, как ребенок.
Когда выходит на черное, его сильно вообще видно. Снимает. Иди сюда, мы же его...
Не верю.
Мы забыли вывести, это можно
Вот,
уже на большой экран
смотри на большом экране.
Смотри.
Вот ходит, сейчас спустится, вон он идет, видишь?
Видишь? Вот здесь вообще как ребенок, смотри, да?
Капец, серьезно, ты видишь? Ну, конечно, вот и в телефоне вот
Да.
он тоже.
И в
вот
актовом
он
зале их там 3 штуки играют.
О, ничего
вечером.
себе.
Но они летают.
Они
Здравствуйте.
летают, как бы
Они там
играют.
не ходят, они
А
летают.
вон сейчас уже на
А я
стенке,
подошла туда
на
к
стенке.
лестнице. К лестнице. Это включила, ничего не снимает телефон там.
At first, it was faint, like a shadow that shouldn't have been there, but as they leaned closer, it looked like a little kid. It started moving, and within seconds, it was gone. Most would have dismissed it if it wasn't caught on camera, but this time, the evidence was undeniable. The footage was later submitted to the school board and eventually shared with a local paranormal investigator. For now, room 3B remains locked after hours, not because of fear, but because they're waiting to see if it happens again. And if it does, the next step might not just be investigation, it could be a full-on cleansing. Devin Hale is a 34-year-old architect living alone in a quiet neighborhood just outside Portland, Oregon. One evening, while relaxing and watching TV like usual, he suddenly heard a loud crash from the kitchen, like a whole stack of plates hitting the floor. He jumped up, ran to check, and that's when things got real. Watch this.
Excuse me. Are you back there again? This has become its favorite spot. Now, and there he is. Okay, that's enough water, please. Okay. Everyone can see you in their reflection, bud. Everyone can see you in their reflection. And it's gone. Okay. I know he's not in here, but I just want anyone who's watching to see. This is too small, but just like it's not. I just wanted you to see. The cabinets are knocking again. I'm leaving. Out. That's enough for today.
He stood there trying to convince himself he had imagined it, because that's what we all do, right? But then the kitchen tap turned on. And no, it wasn't one of those motion sensor types. His tap needed to be turned manually. Still confused, but trying to stay calm, he walked over and turned it off, thinking the problem was solved. But as soon as he stepped back, the tap turned on again. The fact that he had to turn it off himself meant something else must have physically turned it on, and that something was certainly not human. He decided to check the laundry room next door, but as he approached, he saw a dark shadow shaped like a person. He ran into the laundry room, which was completely empty, but he was absolutely sure someone or something was watching him. Ever since that night, the tap in Devin's kitchen has developed a creepy habit. Every single night at exactly 8:13 p.m., it turns itself on. Devin has tried plumbing repairs and even got a new faucet, but nothing changed. At this point, there's no other way to explain it. This was definitely a ghost. He sent the footage to a group of investigators, and based on the behavior and strength of the entity's presence, they concluded it was a demon. I hope he receives all the help he needs. I hate seeing kind and normal people pulled into the world of the paranormal, especially when all they wanted was a sense of peace or closure. Eric and Naomi Dalton live in a quiet neighborhood in Flagstaff, Arizona, and had been missing Eric's late father more than usual lately. One afternoon, in a lighthearted moment, they joked about asking for a sign. One of those, "if you're out there, give us a hint," moments you never expect to actually work, but what followed made them wonder if someone had truly been listening. Around 12:40 p.m., they were checking on their dog through their indoor camera when they noticed something unusual. See for yourself what the camera picked up. Before you dismiss it as faulty wiring, Eric explained their bedroom faces the bathroom and there's no shared lighting between the rooms. Plus, their blackout curtains are thick and pulled all the way down, so no light should be coming through at all. At first, the faint glow might look like a trick of the eye or a smudge on the camera lens, but then the light begins to move, slowly and deliberately, like someone waving a dim torch back and forth. But this wasn't the first strange thing to happen in their home, but it was the first time it happened in daylight, and Eric said it felt different and stronger this time, like someone or something was truly listening. They've since saged the house, kept a nightlight on in the hallway, and tried to pretend things are back to normal. Hopefully it stays that way. Camille Moreau is a single mom living in Lyon, France, and not long ago, she moved into what she thought was her dream apartment. But it didn't take long before that dream started to feel like a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. One night, just as she was about to fall asleep, she heard a loud bang from somewhere inside the apartment and walked toward the bathroom. She wasn't prepared for what happened next. The toilet seat moved all by itself, and Camille ran into the next room to catch her breath. But before she could even process what she saw, a picture frame that had been sitting perfectly still for weeks fell flat on its face. Things escalated quickly, and before she could move, the door slammed shut, the lights began to flicker, random objects rolled across the floor. Then a slow, eerie melody started playing from somewhere inside the walls, like the building itself was singing. Scared for her kids, Camille did what any good mother would do. She sent her kids to live with their father, but she's still stuck there because all her savings went into that apartment, and now she's asking for help. She has reached out for help and is hoping a paranormal expert can step in and bring some peace back into her life. We wish Camille the best in banishing this spirit once and for all. Some videos are not about what was seen, but more about what was heard, and trust me, it's the kind of sound that stays with you long after the video ends. A family in Pennsylvania decided to check their doorbell camera after the motion detector went off around 3:17 a.m., and when they looked, there was no person outside, no package was dropped off, it was just light. Watch closely and listen carefully to what they found. Small, glowing shapes floating and swirling like they had a mind of their own. But what really gives you chills isn't the light, it's the sound. The faint, scratchy voice loops repeatedly, saying, "Can you tell me how to get?" And that's it. The question never finishes. It just repeats over and over, like someone stuck in time, trying to ask something they never get to say. Some believe it's a lost spirit asking for directions in the only way it knows how. Others think it's simply residual energy trapped in a loop. But with no one there, no interference, and no technical faults to explain what was captured, this was certainly a ghost. A security supervisor at a museum in California worked there for 3 years, and from day one, people warned him the elevator was haunted, but he dismissed it as just another strange workplace story. Over time, the weird stories kept coming, and during one of his night shifts, at exactly 3:40 a.m., he witnessed something he couldn't explain. Watch what the camera caught that night. The inside light of the elevator by right suddenly turned on, and it stayed on for nearly an hour and a half, until 5 a.m. The next day, they ran a full diagnostic on the elevator, electrical tests, door sensors, motion detectors, but there were no malfunctions, no power surges, absolutely nothing to explain what happened. But let's be real, elevators don't activate themselves for over an hour without cause, and if no one was inside, then something else was. Whether it was the restless ghost people whispered about, or a more powerful entity tied to the building, one thing's clear, this wasn't a glitch. It was paranormal. Shortly after, they brought in a priest to bless the building, and the elevator specifically. They even closed off the elevator for 2 weeks. We hope this will be the end of the paranormal activity. Jane and her partner recently booked a night at a hotel they've heard several stories about, like doors opening and closing on their own, and guests checking out early with pale faces and nervous laughter. But instead of getting scared, they got curious. They didn't just want stories, they wanted proof, and that's exactly what their camera caught.
It's okay. I can see you. Come to me. Are you a little boy? It's okay. Come here. It's okay. don't know if my eyes are playing tricks on me, but it looks like it's going like back and forth. You see moving? See moving?
Oh.
It's okay.
No, wait.
It's
Come
okay.
back. Come back.
Where?
No, you come back. Go straight. Look straight. Towards me. No. Turn towards me like you were earlier. Put your back towards me.
With no footsteps and no sound at all, the shadow was still, till it started moving. Instead of freaking out, Jane leaned forward, but her partner was clearly feeling nervous, so he told her to step back, and that's when a shadow moved across the room. It looked like the shadow of a child, and was fast like something alive and playful. The couple barely slept that night, and when the sun came up, they packed their bags and checked out without looking back. After reviewing the footage back home, Jane and her partner decided to send it to a local paranormal investigator who had studied that hotel for years. What he told them confirmed what they already felt in their gut. The shadow wasn't a trick of the light. In fact, similar sightings had been reported before, all pointing to the same room, the same childlike figure. The expert believes the spirit might still be searching for her family, for peace, or simply for someone to notice. One thing's for sure, now that she's been seen again, the activity may only grow stronger. Kelsey Davis always thought being a mom meant dealing with tantrums, toys scattered across the floor, and the occasional sleepless night, but never in her wildest dreams did she imagine that bedtime would become the most terrifying part of her day. It started when her young son began having full conversations with no one there, pausing like he was listening to someone speak back. She brushed it off at first as just an imaginary friend, but something about the way he responded didn't sit right with her. One night, she decided to record him.
Good night.
Who are you saying goodnight to?
Him. Good night.
Who?
Him. Good night.
Jagger, there's no one up there.
Him up there.
Show me.
Him up there. Him up there.
Jagger, there's no one up there. He's been talking to that vent and then he was blowing it kisses. And I'm creeped out now. Like, seriously, I'm not joking. I'm so creeped out right now.
Her son stood in his room, looked toward the ceiling, and calmly said goodnight to an empty corner. Kelsey didn't see anything unusual, but the room didn't feel right, so she shared the footage with a group of ghost hunters to see if they could make sense of it. For now, the situation remains unresolved, and while the activity hasn't stopped, she's hoping the team steps in soon to help figure out what is sharing the room with her son. Jake never believed in ghosts, not as a kid, not as a teen, and not even after his uncle passed away, leaving behind his old garage where he spent most of his time fixing things. The space had been untouched for years, his tools still on the bench, his jacket still on the hook, like he'd be back any minute. Then one night, something strange happened. While Jake was scrolling through his phone, he heard the door slowly open on its own, and while he brushed it off at first, the light inside turned on by itself. But the switch was an old manual one, so it made no sense that it would come on by itself. He checked the footage again and again, searching for some explanation, convinced he'd missed something, but the video showed no movement until he turned the volume up and heard uneven footsteps coming from inside the garage. This only convinced him the situation was far from ordinary, and that sometimes the dead don't rest quietly, they just keep doing what they always did, waiting for someone to notice. This next clip comes from a creator named Chai, someone known for her hilarious takes on everyday life, relatable skits, and the kind of content that makes you laugh even on the toughest days. But recently, she posted something that felt completely different, something personal, unsettling, and impossible to explain.
Okay, who is it?
Daddy. Daddy's right there.
Is it your daddy?
No, it's your daddy.
Is where?
Daddy's right there.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay, show me.
See?
Oh.
Your daddy's missing you.
My daddy's missing me?
That's your dad.
Let's go get him. Where'd he go? Okay, show me.
Chai's 2-year-old daughter stands quietly in the hallway, calmly repeating the words, "Dad is missing you." What makes this feel truly strange is that Chai's father passed away in 2002. Her daughter had never heard stories about him, never seen a photo, and yet she spoke as if she'd known him all her life. Now, Chai finds herself caught between believing this was just a coincidence or something else entirely, something trying to lure her into that room. She hasn't stepped inside for months, and it's hard to blame her because anyone in her position would be left wondering what might happen if they walked into that room. Few days into the new year, Alex, who worked in an ancient building, got stuck working a late shift alone. When he was about to leave and locking up, something terrifying happened. Have a look.
What was that? Caleb? Yeah? Did you hear that?
He heard a voice that was like someone calling out for help. Alex knew he was the only one left in the building. He still turned to look, more out of instinct than reason, but the hallway was empty. The next day, unsure of what to make of it, he decided to look into the building's history, just to see if there was anything that might explain what he'd heard. But what he found was far more disturbing than he could have imagined. Years ago, a janitor had been working that same hallway when a maintenance door came loose and fell, trapping him behind it. And though he called out again and again, his voice echoing through the corridors, no one heard him in time. After learning that, Alex was convinced the voice he heard wasn't just in his head, it was the echo of a spirit still waiting to be heard. Since then, he's made sure he's never the last one to leave. Cameras don't lie, they catch what we miss. Moments we're too distracted to notice, and sometimes signs that something paranormal might still be out there. Melissa, a single mom living in Asheville, North Carolina, had been noticing something strange outside her home for months. Like someone walking past at odd hours, always just out of view. Hoping to ease her mind, she installed a small security camera above the front door, just to see if anything was really there. One evening, after returning home from dinner with her daughter Ava, they got a notification that the camera had picked up a strange movement, and what they saw caught them completely off guard.
Oh shit, who's there? Here is you.
A man was walking slowly along the sidewalk in front of their house, but just as he reached a certain spot, he vanished. They rushed outside, hoping to find footprints or some sign of where he'd gone, but there was nothing, not even a single sign that anyone had been there at all. When they shared what happened with their neighbors, they learned they weren't the only ones who'd seen something strange. One neighbor even mentioned that the exact spot where the man disappeared used to be an old bus stop, and that back in 1989, a terrible accident had taken place there. Melissa didn't need convincing anymore. She already knew what this was, and that night she lit a candle and placed it on the windowsill, and from that moment on, they never saw the man again. This was definitely a paranormal activity, and whatever was lurking around their street just needed help getting home. Derek is the kind of man who appreciates quiet moments like when the kids have gone to bed and the only sounds left are the soft breathing of his wife beside him. But one night, after finishing an episode of American Dad and switching off the television, he heard something. Watch this moment and listen closely. A dragging noise, like something heavy had been pulled across the floor, came from the dining room, but their dining set was the kind that doesn't move unless someone makes it move. So Derek was trying to understand how something so heavy could have shifted so loudly without a single person out of bed. He didn't check right away because the noise reminded him of something that had happened years ago, when every cabinet in the kitchen slammed shut at the same time in the middle of the night. He and his wife rushed into the kitchen expecting a mess, but everything was in place. No broken plates, no open doors, just silence. Within a few days, Derek reached out to a small paranormal team that had investigated homes in the area before, and after visiting the house, they confirmed what he feared most. The activity wasn't random, it was deliberate, and whatever it wasn't just passing through, it was claiming space. I hope things get better after this intervention, but with how active the house has been, Derek's not so sure. For now, all he can do is wait and hope the next sound isn't closer than the last. The following video is about a man named Tyler who had always imagined that moving off-grid would bring peace. The kind of peace that comes from stepping away from city noise, endless traffic, crowded neighbors, and all the clutter and chaos of modern life. For a while, it did. His home sat alone on a hilltop, surrounded by trees, with no neighbors for miles. But one night, at 3:18 a.m., Tyler's phone buzzed with a single ring notification from the camera pointed toward the tree line, and although he didn't check it right away, convincing himself it was probably nothing, the next morning he opened the app, and this is what he saw. A figure moved across the edge of the frame, dressed in white, gliding forward with a strange, rigid stillness, its clothes untouched by the wind, its steps too smooth, too controlled, like it wasn't walking at all, but floating, unaware or maybe uninterested, that a camera was watching, and just as it appeared, it vanished into the trees. Tyler rushed outside, checking every inch of the fence line for footprints or broken branches, or any sign that someone had been there, but there was nothing. No trail, no marks. And ever since that night, he hasn't slept quite the same. I guess living off-grid keeps people out, but it doesn't promise you'll be alone. It just strips away the noise, the distractions, the excuses, and leaves you alone with what's really there. Some fears don't need a reason. They live quietly in the backs of our minds, and for Jordan, basements had always stirred something he couldn't explain. A quiet unease that never really left, no matter how often he tried to dismiss it. So when his grandparents invited him to visit their old farmhouse tucked deep in the back roads of Ohio and offered him the basement guest room, he smiled and agreed, even though something in him said no. The first night felt normal, until just after 2 a.m., when a strange vibration rolled through the floor, followed by a sound he couldn't place. He sat up, reached for his phone, and started recording to be sure he wasn't making it up. The sound was like a broken trumpet, and it was too close to ignore. The next morning, he uploaded the clip, hoping for answers, but instead, people pointed out something he hadn't noticed at all. In the background, just behind the basement window, was a pale face that was watching. Jordan never got a clear answer about what he saw that night, but ever since, he keeps the basement light on, just in case. But this might not be the solution, because some fears don't go away, especially once they finally have a face.